You're listening to the Gettin' Salty Experience podcast.
Oh, God dang it.
I
Phil.
didn't touch shit, bro. It wasn't me. Don't blame me. My hands are
It
here,
was my
bro.
dog. My dog came up and said, don't touch that.
Oh, it's his dog. Blame it on the dog. You get your homework, too,
Damn
right?
it,
You
son of a bitch.
He's like, son of a bitch.
That's
That's what happens. We gave him all the accolades, right? We gave him all the
He got a
accolades.
little fool of himself.
Son of
Welcome
a
back
bitch.
to the Gonzo fucks up and blames on his dog.
God damn.
God damn it.
Oh, no, Brownie. Get down. Stop.
Sit,
Yeah.
Ubu, sit. Good dog.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to the three-peat, the trifecta of the Mike Barone story, bro. Here it is. The final chapter, we think. We're finally going to climb out of the 70s into the 80s and take this bitch on home. But wait, one more thing. Nope. One more thing. We're putting a bow on it tonight, bro.
Well, I think he said we have to go back, though. He has something he wants to go back.
What?
And then
Where
we're going to
was
come
I?
forward.
That's what I was hitting the
Yeah,
head.
you went to the head. Yeah.
Oh, Lee
He
Maxwell. All
he
right.
said it's only a little thing. He's going to go back, and he's going
Yeah.
to come forward again.
Way back into time.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get stuck in time. I feel like we got to get 1.21 gigawatts back and fucking get back to the future. You know what I'm saying, bro? Fire up the flux capacitor. Let's get back into the future.
Holy shit, 1975, for God's sakes.
Yep. Yeah. Holy mackerel. So what's going on up there? I see you don't have a jacket or a
It's a little
sweater
warm.
on, bro.
It's a little warm now.
Is it?
A little bit. It's in the 80s today.
It was 91 down by me today, baby. Right by the beach. Kids walking around all over the place. Chicks going to the beach. Everybody's in a bathing suit. I'm like, what? It's April. What the hell?
And what were you doing?
Working. Cutting stone. I was cutting stone.
Yeah, right. When you put the binoculars down, what were you doing?
No, work, church, and home for me, baby. You know. That's what I say.
Well, what are you
I
doing?
don't
You
think
putting
I-
brickwork, you said, or something? You doing some stonework?
I'm doing stone work.
Well, do you have
in the
enough
house, bro.
going on in your life?
Nope. So I was yeah.
No, that's professional.
No.
Unprofessional. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, next is I gotta open up the pool. This never stops. Work, pool. Work.
It'll all be worth it in the end.
Yeah, when I'm dead. And
My
the
boy
kids-
Lenny might have hit the word of the day already.
Oh,
I don't even want to go yet.
No, we're not going to do it yet, but he
No.
might be close on the one more.
yeah.
Maybe, possibly.
Oh.
Let's see. Am I keeping what I have, by the way? Because I thought that was good.
I didn't even know we had one.
Nice shirt, Coobs, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
did it? No. Oh man.
Nobody said it.
Nobody said it.
Not yet.
Wow.
You didn't give him time. You didn't give him time.
I thought it was going to be QC Beast because he's always
We're
breaking.
betting
our
on who
rules about
said
some shit.
we have the same shirt on with twinning tonight. I thought it was going to be Gabe Fox or Malone. Could have been one of them twinning. Yes, we didn't
I
plan
said,
this.
I
this
said the
happened.
Beast is the Beast from the East.
Yeah,
But
yeah. All right,
missed his chance.
you did. Did you post that thing about the guy in what was that Wrigley Field wearing the
Yeah, I posted it.
salty apparel shirt? Nice.
Pretty soon we'll make the whole screen. Right now we just got like a quarter of the shirt.
I did
Somebody
get
said-
fixated on the bottle. I was like,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
So yeah, you think he's gonna spill it at any time, right? He's like wigging it
Yeah.
around.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Staten Island had a big job today, right?
Staten Island, there was like a couple of third alarms. There was a fifth alarm somewhere.
Yeah, doing
You know,
it.
Come on,
Yeah.
where is it going to be? I mean, honestly, where's it going to be?
I mean, I like the guy in San Francisco. Don't get me wrong, but come on. It's not
Where's it
gonna
going to
get
be? Philly, Detroit. I mean, where's it going to be? Where's it going to be?
there. Come on. It's going to be.
We all know
Orlando?
where it is. We all know. We know.
Where's it gonna
We
be in
know.
Florida?
It is what it is. We know what it
It
is.
could be
We
in
know.
yeah.
Where's it going to be?
We know what it
Florida?
is. I can't have commiserating. I can't have it.
Florida.
Listen, we know
Yeah.
where it is.
No, I ain't going to be in Florida. I can tell you that much. that's what I know.
I don't know. A lot of t-shirt companies come out of Florida. I don't know how, but
They
do.
do. You know, guys with different color helmets than the normal. What color helmets you got down there, Gonzo? Black helmets? Or
Black
what do you
helmet.
got?
Yeah, we have black. Wait a minute. I'm gonna,
No,
You
no.
have a
But
red helmet?
Yes, red helmets for in my department. So officers have red.
Red.
then they got that. What's that company, Cougs? That what is it? Like a fishing charter place? What is that?
Yeah. Hook and bait. Or no. Lines and reels. No. Hook and irons. Right.
Oh,
That's
irons,
what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those guys.
Yeah. That's what I say to that.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
Yeah, that's what I say to that. All right, let's make some money.
All right.
Gons, come on. Pressure's on.
No, it's not no pressure now. I told you it was the dog.
Where's-
I'm going to
where's
blame
the
the
dog?
dog.
Is the dog in there? Yeah.
All right.
No, I kicked her ass out.
All right, good.
All right, we're going to hear from New Jersey Fire. I'm sorry, Armor Tough.
Armor Tough interlocking floor tiles are the best choice to replace new or aging, stained, or cracked concrete or epoxy floors. Here's why. Armor Tough tiles come with a lifetime warranty and are usually installed in 1 or 2 days, depending on the size of your station, with virtually no disruption in daily operation. Armor Tough interlocking tiles are guaranteed from chipping, cracking, peeling, breaking, or staining. Once installed, the tiles are non-skid and non-slip and meet the ADA standards for the friction coefficient. The tiles are stain resistant and impervious to any chemicals or volatiles that are used in the fire service. Once installed, your floor will be easy to clean with just soap and water. Install an Armor Tough tile floor in your apparatus bays, offices, training rooms, workshops, exercise rooms, kitchens, banquet halls, or any other room in your station. Call Vince today for a no-obligation quote at 908-917-7697. Why install a breakable epoxy floor that will need replacing in 5 to 10 years when you could have a floor that will last a lifetime? Drop a halogen on an Armor Tough floor and you won't see any damage. Don't try this with concrete or epoxy. Join the hundreds of career and volunteer fire departments nationwide who have chosen an Armor Tough interlocking tile floor. Armor Tough interlocking tiles are half the price of epoxy and will last a lifetime without issue. Again, call Vince today for a no-obligation quote at 908-917-7697.
Wonderful. I don't know how that is, but she's got a nice voice. Nice.
All right.
Yep. What else you got?
Number 2. What do you got?
No, I was going to say, tell Vince the boys from Getting Salty told you to call over there.
Oh, yeah. They give you free stuff if you see him in Indy. And we'll be out in Indy, too, before you get to the next thing. We'll be in Indy, bro. We're going to be running a contest with our boys from One Source. So come to the booth. Get yourself a little raffle ticket.
Don't come empty-handed.
The only thing you got to do is subscribe to the channel here, to the show, and you get a raffle ticket.
Bring a vodka or something with you.
Yeah, come home. Yeah, don't come empty-handed. And it will enter you into the drawing. And I think they're donating a hook, a gear bag, some other paraphernalia. I have it in an email. Yeah, we'll get it put together for next show to see what you got. And we'll give away some free swag. So come to the booth in Indy, booth 10009, and get your raffle. Get it. All right, go ahead.
All right, do it.
If you're looking for a gift for that special firefighter in your life, then head on over to GettinSaltyApparel.com. Yes, GettinSaltyApparel.com. What do we have? Well, we carry hand-drawn original t-shirts, glassware such as mugs, shot glasses, pint glasses, engraved Arctic cooler cups, and much, much more. There's also a full line of firefighter tool bottle openers like Halligan's, nozzles, and wine bottle opener accesses too. And if you're a cigar smoker, congratulations! We have partner sauce cigar cutters and humidors. Think we're done? Far from it. We got toiletry, gear bags, koozies, a full line of hats, decals, sweatshirts, and once again, so much more. We can also personalize most of these products, and if you want discounts, hey, you've come to the right place. We got discounts on large orders for promotion dinners, weddings, as well as installation dinners. Just head on over to GettinSaltyApparel.com.
Excellent. New decals came in today, right, Roof?
Yeah, I'll have them on the site tomorrow.
Sweet. It's the Drive Fast, Take Chances decal and the new guy with the cigar. In his
New
mouth.
logo with the cigar.
That thing's pretty badass. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
We know how to do it.
He ain't lying.
He
All right,
ain't
Ruffy. This guy's no stranger to the show. You might have seen him here, there, everywhere. Maybe on the show twice. Then that was third time.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. It's Dr. Emmett Brown. I mean, it's not Dr. Emmett Brown.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Back to the Future. LT Mike Barone.
Oh, wrong one.
I picked up on it.
Nice. Beautiful. There he is.
What do you say,
Welcome
Mike?
back.
Were you nodding out back there, pal?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
He's like, all right, guys, let's go. Pick it
Let's
up.
go.
I got to get out of the 80s. Let's go.
Well, we got to do something first. Two things, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
You think we're ready to start the show? Far from it.
Fall from it.
All right, go ahead. Guys.
Okay.
Let's get patriotic first. Hold on a minute. Mike.
I would be.
Wait,
on,
Mike,
Mike.
hold
Hold
on.
on,
We got to
Mike.
get patriotic first. Let us.
Okay.
do the,
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's
All
all right,
right.
buddy. Go ahead.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That was really, really nice. Really nice.
That's my girl.
So, girl.
Some job.
All right, do the word of the day quick. Here we go. I don't even
No.
know what it is. What
Don't
is
do it yet. Don't do
No?
it yet. No. Ready? Okay. Ready?
No, you want me to do it?
No,
No, not
go
you,
ahead.
sir. Here we
Word
go.
of the day is
One
One
more
more.
time.
One more.
One more.
One
Two
more.
words Mike has never said in his life.
all right. Mr. Barone, it's all yours. We got to go back a little bit, you said, right? Let's do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
First of all, you guys, I told you my father was on the job, right?
Yeah.
I mentioned that. He never said a word to me about getting on the fire department, right? Anyway, he had a brother, John, who was also on the job. He was in engine 157. Then I had a first cousin, Joe Barone, who was in engine 13. And I had my sister's son, John Baldessari. He was a lieutenant in ladder 9. And I had my father's first cousin, Dan Dorenzi. He was a battalion chief. Another guy, Santor, he was another chief. I had a first cousin, Joe Spagnola. He was a fireman in engine 157. A cousin, Ralph Moscato, in 160. And my cousin's son, Lou Petroni, who was a captain in Manhattan Beach, California Fire Department.
Nice.
So we covered the states. We covered the
I
states.
see that, man.
No, I have a lot of people that were on the job, and then none of them are on the job now. So I just wanted to get that in. I wanted to mention those guys.
Yeah, it reminds me of this is my cousin Paulie. This is Paulie.
This is Petey and Paulie.
This is Petey and
Oh,
Paulie.
This is Paulie. Oh, I get confused myself sometimes.
Nice. All right.
Oh, but I wasn't done yet. Wait, I'm not done with the.
Oh, all
One
right,
more.
go.
Just a couple of things. I just wanted to mention that back in 1968, I think 68, 69, across the street from 18 Truck, there was another vacant building, and they filmed. Did you ever hear of Midnight Cowboy, the movie?
Yeah.
No.
With John Voight and Dustin Hoffman?
Yeah.
Midnight Cowboy. Don't tell me you never heard of that movie.
Yeah, I heard of it. Yeah, I did.
They filmed it across the street, well, part of it, in a vacant building, and some of the guys were extras in the movie. I thought that was interesting. And I have another interesting story. Back in those days, listen to me. Back in those days, that whole area down there, the Lower East Side, had a lot of Jewish people and a lot of Ukrainian Jews, and they lived all over the place there. And a lot of them did not want to leave the area, even though it was changing, from not a bad and at one time good neighborhood into something that was not so pleasant, but they didn't want to leave. And just one little story, we had a job up on like ABC and 6th Street. The fire's over. The lieutenant says to me, I was driving. He says, we got to put the drop ladder back on the fire escape. So they're getting ready to take out the 35-foot extension ladder, put it up to the fire. So I said, look, no, I'll go up to the second floor. I'll get out on the fire escape, and you just send the ladder up, and I'll put the hook on it, So I go upstairs. I knock on the door to the apartment where where I thought the fire escape was. And the door opens, and there's this little old lady standing there. She had to be like 4 feet tall. And she looks up, and she says, what could I do for you, Sonny? And I said, oh, Jesus Christmas. I was like taken aback by the sight of her and the oldness of the apartment. It was like really, really old. So I said, oh, geez, I'm sorry that I'm bothering you. She says, no. She says, come on in. Don't worry. Come on in. So now I felt bad. I went into the apartment. And as I'm going in, as we're passing these bedrooms along the way to get to the fire escape, there are old people in the rooms, like in bed or on the couch. They're in their 90s, And I'm looking at all these people, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christmas, what am I doing in here, And I finally got out on the fire escape, did the ladder, I put the hook on the drop ladder, and I go back in, and I apologized again, to all of them. And I think they were okay with me coming in. It was something that they did that day,
You shut that shit off?
I'm trying.
Yeah, shut that off because it is annoying.
Christ almighty.
So I go down into the street, and I'm telling my story to the guys, and there's a civilian there, a guy, he's in his 40s. And he said to me, did you just come from up, in the building? I says, yeah. He says, my mother's still there. He says, I can't get her out of the building. All of them that are living in that building, they will not leave. They're going to die there. All of them. They were just waiting to die. And it's a thing that's stuck in my head. I'll never forget the sight of those old people just hanging around, not wanting to leave their old neighborhood, and they're going to stay there till they died, You're
going to die in the apartment, probably.
It was kind of sad. It was kind of sad. Yeah. And the kids couldn't get them out of it. They couldn't get them out of the neighborhood, But there was a lot of that stuff going on back then, back there. Some of them were lucky. They went into this urban renewal stuff, and they knocked down a lot of the old tenements, and they built new condos and apartment houses on Grand Street, beautiful places that they lived in, and they stayed there. They didn't want to leave the neighborhood. So I just wanted to, give you a flair for the area. The Lower East Side was one fabulous place when I got there. It was filled with a lot of good people and a lot of good stores. And one in particular was this bakery, Honey and Spice Bakery, built in the new part of the urban renewal. The best bakery ever created in New York City was Honey and Spice Bakery on Clinton Street between Grand and East Broadway. It was just fabulous. I don't even know if it's still there, but what a place. It was like magic. You go in there, no matter what you bought, it was unbelievable. Yeah.
They didn't have any bunt cakes in there, did they, Rookie?
No. They had babka.
Oh, babka.
They had babka you ever tasted in your life.
Really?
Back in the 60s.
The chocolate covered custard donuts were my favorite. They were the best. Yeah.
Back in the 60s and the 70s, did they do the same thing? Like if you were coming in on a day tour, you brought breakfast in the morning?
Exactly. You stopped there. You stopped there and bought a dozen Bunsen, and you were like king. I mean, they would kill you for the stuff. Yeah, it was that good. So I had to get that in. I hope you don't mind.
No, go ahead, bro.
And one other thing.
One more.
In 19.
Hold on.
Yeah, one more. In 1965, it was the 100th year anniversary for the fire department being an official fire department. You know, they started in 1865. So now the fire department is making plans to celebrate the 100th anniversary. And they invited a lot of fire departments all over the area, the New Jersey, Westchester County, whatever, you know. And guess what? They all said, yes, they would send a representative or a truck or what is this and that. Guess what? They had so many people that wanted to be in the parade that they canceled it. The city said, there's no way that we're having this parade. It would be too big, too long. It'll be days before all of the marches get through the parade, you know. So they actually got there. They canceled the 100th anniversary parade for the fire department.
That's crazy.
And lo and behold, the next year is when the 23rd Street fire happened. The fire and collapse, 12 guys killed. So what did the fire department, the city of New York, I should say, do about the 12 men being killed? How would they honor them? They made I think it was 18 by 24 foot, 24 inch bronze plaque with the names of the 12 dead firefighters, and they put it in the sidewalk in front of the building where the fire happened. That was the extent of New York City's paying honor to the 12 dead firemen. An 18 by 24 bronze plaque in the sidewalk. Now, I think they took it out of the sidewalk and they put it on the wall of a building.
People are fucking stepping on it, for God's sakes.
Yeah, and they put it on a wall of a building that's on 23rd Street now. But it was disgusting, you know, really disgusting. And it has something to do with what happened later on, because like in the 90s, when I got remarried, my wife and I, she was like in the travel business. So we were going all over, you know, and we went to Boston on a weekend and we went on that Freedom Trail. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Boston has a freedom thing. It's a couple of miles long and you walk through the historic sites and stuff like that. We're walking through a park and I see at the corner of my eye, I see these statues of firemen in the park. So I go over there and there was 5 firemen that were killed in a fire in Boston. I don't think it was that far from when the time we were there. Like I think it happened in maybe the 80s or 90s, early 90s. And they built this monument to these guys, 5 of them, you know, and this is the way you do it. This is the way you honor people who are giving up their lives for the other people that live in the city, you know?
Yeah, and look how long it took to get a plaque for the guys from the telephone company, man.
Oh, that's I was at that fire too. At night, I went at night. But anyway, so that stuck in my brain. After 9/11, I said, this is not going to happen again, you know, so I made sure I was going to do something about that. And I'll get into that later, but I started working on this Staten Island tribute to the people who died from Staten Island at the World Trade Center. You know, it was like almost 300 of them, you know, so, but I'll get into that. But that thought about what Boston did for their firefighters and what we did for the 12 guys that were killed. It's it was disgusting, you know. So, you know, that was what I wanted to get out, you know, stuff like that.
That's on the wall right now. Yeah.
That's it. Yes. Oh, that's a new one. That's a new one. That's a newer one. Yeah. I went back to one of the anniversaries, but I don't remember what it won. But anyway, okay. So we're in the
80s.
I'm sorry.
Are we in the 80s?
Okay, so
unless he has
what happens is
where are we, Mike?
The end of 1980.
Woo! We're in the 80s.
We're in the 80s.
Go ahead.
So I'm working, and I have 3 teenage daughters at the time. Trouble in River City.
Oh yeah.
My wife is having a hard time dealing with them. You know, I'm not home. You know, I'm working. I think I had 3 jobs at the time. So things are getting pretty bad between me and her anyway, and now we're having problems with the girl. So I said to myself, I got to get out of here. I got to leave. I don't want to leave. If that didn't happen, I don't think I would have ever left 18 truck. But anyway, I said, I got to go. So I called the deputy in the 1st Division. He's the same guy that asked me to come over with the rig so they can put guys on the Blackout. The same guy says, you go wherever you want to go. He says, don't worry about it. I'll take care of everything. And I knew a captain of 85 truck on Staten Island. He used to be a lieutenant in 18 truck. So I called him, and he said, yeah, no problem. So I went there. I went to 85.
Is that the hot corner, Mike?
That was not the hot corner. The 78 truck and 155 engine on Jersey Street. That was the hot corner.
It was the cool curve.
We were in the country, 85 truck. Like, well, it was in Newdorp. It was in Newdorp, that mid-island. It was in the middle of Staten Island. And anyway, I met a whole bunch of great guys there. It's amazing. It's amazing how things work in your life. I met this guy, Vinny Sobel, and he was an 85 truck. He got there before I did. He worked in a lot of busy truck companies in Brooklyn, you know. And so we start up a friendship, and I find out that he's starting to study for the lieutenant's test. So I says, you know what? I says, I had been on other lists, but I never wrote high enough to get promoted, you know. So I said, I'm gonna start studying. So I start studying with him. Next thing you know is he says, what about we stop drinking? So I says, yeah. I says, you know what? I says, it might not be a bad idea. I says, because I'm having problems with my children, you know, my teenage daughters. I says, maybe if I show them that I'm not I don't drink, you know, I can manage that, you know. But I never even thought about it. I never had ever one thought about stopping drinking, you know. So we stopped, you know. And you know what made it easier is because we had each other. Like, we would still go to the rackets and stuff, you know, we would still do everything, but the other guys were drinking, we were drinking soda.
There was no pressure on you because he wasn't doing it either. So
he wasn't doing it. So we would bullshit to each other.
Yeah, watch out for each other.
And we would point to each guy that was getting drunker and drunker, and we would we would have fun with it, you know, the two of us. He was a cynical son of a bitch, Vinny, and he had such a dry sense of humor. You know, he was a great friend, and that's how we got through that. And it got easier and easier without the drinking, and I started to see things that I had not seen before. You know,
no shit.
I started the fog started to lift.
Everything's
clear.
Yeah.
Clear. I mean, the studying was going great. You know, and things were working out that way, but at home with my wife, things were not working out too well, you know, and we were sort of like heading for Splitsville there. And but anyway, it took a while before I went to an AA meeting. I was sort of like, I don't know. So then I did, and I was glad I did. I bought the package, I bought the whole thing, and I wound up doing it. And I wasn't a crazy drunk, you know. I mean, I wasn't a bad person ever, you know. And the thing was that it was interfering with a lot of stuff that I was going on in my life. It was not allowing me to handle all this shit, you know, especially on the job. You know, like things happen, like I spoke about before, where you bury everything, you know. You see something crazy and you don't want to deal with it, you bury it, you have a drink. You know what I'm saying? Everything we did, no matter what, I don't care what it was, there was drinking involved. And I'm not down on drinking. I'm just saying it affected me to a point where I wasn't really doing what I should have been doing. So I went sober for 10 years. Wow. I didn't have a drink for 10 years. And in that time, I met my beautiful wife and got married to her. And everything, and I got promoted, you know. I mean, it was just one good thing after another happened to me, you know. So I just wanted to say that, and like an 85 truck, you know. All right, so they really didn't do much, you know, but they did their thing. They had a lot of brush fires, and this one day we go out on and it wasn't an accident. They called it something with a train. You know, Staten Island has trains.
A derailment?
Or above ground. You know, the Staten Island Rapid Transit System or whatever it is. And they had a person under the train. So we go there, and ESU Truck 5, the PD is there, and they're trying to get some kid, from what I understand, that I hope I have the story right, he tried to commit suicide. He was 13 years old, and he threw himself on the tracks from, it was a raised platform at the Dongan Hills station. He threw himself in front of the train. Train goes over him and over his leg and whatever. And we're down there trying to lift the train off the leg so we can get him out. And it took us a while, you know, to do it. And they had a heavy jack. We had a heavy duty jack. Why we had one, I don't know. Somebody had it and they said, "Hey, Cap, can we got this
throw it on the rig?" Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, put it on the rig," you know. So it actually came in handy. We used both jacks. We got the train off the kid's leg, got him out, but I never knew what happened to the kid. I never knew if he lived, what happened to him afterwards. But anyway, that was one of the things that I did in 85 truck. One of my instances, you know, that I was pretty good that I was working that day, and I took part in that. You know, I think they got a unit citation or whatever, and another big thing that happened in 85 truck was one day when I came in for a night tour, and this guy Dick Montana, he was a lieutenant in the truck, and he says, "We're going to have a contest tonight, a pizza making contest." So like this was like a big deal, you know, and it was going to be me against him. You know?
That's a big deal.
He was challenging me. He heard me talking about my pizza pie making. So he challenged me to a contest, and we made, I don't know how many pies we made that night, but it was, you know, it was a good night, and we had a covering lieutenant in the engine, just got promoted out of 123 truck and from Brooklyn, you know, so he's in on everything. He ate, he had a great time. We're having coffee in the kitchen later on, and we're all bullshitting. And he says, "Oh man," he says, "this was the best pizza I ever had." You know, he was like, he couldn't say enough about it. So I said, "Yeah." I said, "How about that one? How about that one with the allige on it?" So you guys know
sardines, Sardines.
So yeah, so anchovies actually.
Anchovies, all right.
Anchovies,
yeah.
Right?
Anchovies.
So I said, "Did you like? Yeah, I guess you liked the one with the allige." I said, "Because you ate everything." He says, "Yeah." He says, "What do you mean, allige? What the hell's allige?" And when I told him what it was, he bolted out of the kitchen and threw everything up in the bathroom.
No way, really?
He threw his guts up.
That's, you gotta have a special taste for that too.
Oh my God! I'll never forget that. He's, "Oh my, anchovies! Oh no!" Yeah. Running into the kitchen.
All my uncles love that. They love
the
anchovies.
Anyway,
I never had a taste for it.
Can't do anchovies.
No.
Yeah, so
That's supposed to do right.
Anyway,
so did you win?
I think they called it a tie.
They called it a tie.
The guys are not stupid, you know. They said
they want everybody cooking all the time.
We're not going to piss any of these guys off because we want them to make pizza again, you know.
That's it. I got you.
So, but anyway, I did pretty decently on the test. I got promoted. I was on the list. I said, "Oh, John, it looks like I'm going to get promoted," you know. So I think I was there for a couple more years, and then Rescue 5. Now the politicians get together and they're going to give Staten Island a rescue company. You know, they never had a real rescue company. They used to have 78 truck with this rig that they made themselves. You know, they made like a rescue truck out of it. It was, you know, they had a lot of 78 truck, but if 78 truck was at the job, then there was no Rescue 5. If they were not at the job, then they could call 78 truck and tell them to respond as the rescue, you know. So then they would take this rig with them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, 78 truck. So now we're going to have a real, rescue company on Staten Island. And they announced it on a department order. And I said, holy shit. I said, I would like to do that, What the hell? Why not? So they try to talk me out of it, especially my captain in the 85, Barranco. He says, what are you, nuts? He says, you're studying for the test. Now you're going to go there. They drill every day. You're going to have to learn all the tools and all this stuff. He says, it's not going to be good for you to do it, But I since I had stopped drinking, it wasn't a problem. I said, no, I can do it, I can do it. So I did. I went and I seen this guy, Charlie Driscoll. He was the captain of 5. He was also a lieutenant in 18 truck. And
that don't hurt.
Yep.
Which didn't hurt at all. And matter of fact, I think I drove him when he was in 18.
Wow.
And
that's a home run.
Yeah, so that was a home run. And he says, yeah, so I did that. And
what year were they organized?
84.
They were organized, and you went there in what? You went there in 84?
84, yeah.
So were you a charter member there?
Yeah. They were the original members, of Rescue 5. Yeah, it was really great. I think we got assigned there in July, and we trained for 2.5 months or something, and then we went in service in September or October that year. And this is a funny story. So back then, you were in a battalion. You weren't in SOC. There was no SOC. So you were in a battalion, and the first day that we went in service, it was a day tour. The battalion commander is hosting a thing, a celebration like Rescue 5, the new fire department apparatus, and all this other stuff. And there's a whole bunch of people there in the firehouse, and he's in the front, and he's got a mic, and he's speaking. And he said at the end of his speech, he says, "And I want to welcome you," and he starts getting like really serious, "I want to welcome you with much trepidation." I said, trepidation? That don't sound good to me.
Big words.
Not good. No.
And I'm not drinking, and I know it's not good.
Yeah. What the hell? What the hell kind of a way is that to welcome a company into the battalion? Much trepidation. Yeah. Okay. It took a couple of years to finally, work out the little misconceptions about this rescue company, 5, with the rest of the people that were in the battalion and on Staten Island, I mean, the only thing that the guys that worked on Staten Island had to go by was the rescue companies that they worked with in either Brooklyn or Manhattan, So now here's a new guy in town, It took a while. It took a while before.
Well, most of the guys from Staten Island, Lou?
You mean
when you guys went to 5, were most of the guys from Staten Island?
Yes.
Or were they from other, some other rescues?
No, they were
Brooklyn.
They were from Staten Island.
So you must have known most of the guys anyway, then, right? It must have been a little bit easier, or no?
I did. I knew some of them, not all of them. I knew some of them, but they came from all over. They worked all over the place, and they wanted to be in Rescue 5. So we had a great bunch of people that could do anything, and it was a great challenge. The whole thing. It was fabulous. Had a great time. We had a good group of guys.
How was it? Like Kevin, I know we've had the same talk with guys when we did the squads. How was it when you responded to jobs and stuff? Now that you were a new company, dealing with the other companies now, like how did that go?
Well, it was so crazy. It was so crazy because they were used to the other rescue company.
78, yeah.
No, not 78.
Rescue 2 coming over. Oh, I got it.
They were used to when they worked in the borough in Brooklyn or Manhattan, they were used to the other rescue companies, so they responded to us the same way. So like even the chiefs tend to the rescue. That was their favorite sentence. Tend to the rescue. Yeah. And we used to say, "You son of a bitch."
You son of a bitches.
How long is it going to take before they're looking for us to come in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was a bitch in the beginning, but
Yeah.
but after the firemen got to know us and got to know who we were, it was a whole different story.
Yeah, it takes a
They
little bit
were
of
our
time.
best friends after that, but it took a while. And
Were you guys dive trained?
yes, that was the other thing. We went into service as a scuba team,
Right.
and here I am. I think let's see, 84. I was 44.
Wow.
I was 44 years old, and I'm learning how to be a scuba diver. I never scuba diver. I don't even thought it was never in my dreams that I'd be a scuba diver.
That's tough to do, man. That is,
I'm saying,
especially if you weren't doing it all the time. Like if you weren't a diver,
Yeah, some guys were like a little bit into it or something,
Right.
But they were. I wasn't the only one, But they wanted to be in the rescue, so they said, we'll do it. We've got to be a scuba team.
Yeah.
So we got certified, Blackwater Rescue. I mean, I went back to the area in Queens under the bridge. What's the bridge? Oh shit! Not the Queensboro Bridge. It was another bridge in Queens.
The 59th Street Bridge.
Huh?
BQE.
No. There was another bridge.
The Whitestone
there.
Bridge.
The Whitestone Bridge. They had a a junkyard. They had a junkyard under the water.
Oh my God!
Underneath the Whitestone Bridge, and the guy that had the contract to train us, that this is his headquarters was over there.
Oh my God!
And I'm gonna tell you,
that's as scary as it gets, man. Doing
that shit. that this guy put us through, like, because we went back one day where it was low tide, and we saw all the shit in the water. Are you kidding me? Oh, really? I don't know how the hell some of the guys survived going through all the crap that we did. But anyway, we did, and it was it was good. It was good that we were Scuba Team now, and I have to tell you, one day we were working. I think it was in like 1989. We got special called to the Bronx. Scuba Team to the Bronx. I Googled it. I used Google Maps to find out how far away it was. 31 miles.
Wow.
We responded from Staten Island to some park on the beach. I can't remember the name of the goddamn beach, but
Orchard Beach.
Orchard Beach, that's what it was. Orchard Beach. There was a kid in the water. They couldn't find him, so they special called. I don't know. I guess the chief responded, and he special called for a scuba team. There was nobody around, nobody available. Bing! 31 miles later, we're in the water at Orchard Beach looking for this kid. We didn't find him, but they eventually found him. Yeah, he was dead. But that was the longest run I ever went on. I had 31 miles. Are you kidding? Yeah, that was.
What about the dive job off of Staten Island Pier? That was 87, right?
That's a good story.
Yeah, we've had guys on talk a little about it, but you guys were actually, it was a worker, right? Was that the one where the worker was trapped?
Yes. Actually, it's like 3:00 in the afternoon. We get this ticket, rescue only. Oh no, they sent the engine too, because the engine used to come with their. They had equipment that they used to give us for us, so they came also. But it was the description on the ticket was "man in the water." This is the ticket that Calderon was working. He says we got a man. He said we got a man in the water. He says I don't know what the hell we got. What are you kidding? So he tells
one guy in the water. All right.
He says put on one of those exposure suits. One guy in an exposure suit. The other two guys dress up in your scuba gear on the way to where we're going, which was not too far, down in Stapleton. Years ago, they were going to build a Navy home port in this area in Stapleton. But David Dinkins, I don't know what the hell he was thinking of, decided that he did not want the Navy to bring in atomic weapons to New York Harbor, so he put a kibosh. Well, he didn't, but he had his senators from New York State put a kibosh on the Navy home port. They had a lot of it built.
That would be great, actually.
This is what happened. They were building the pier in 1987.
No shit.
Yeah, they were building the pier that was going to, where the ships could dock. And what happened was they had was 400 yards out. They were driving these big cement pilings into the ground, right, into the mud, into the muck, right, and then they were going to build a pier on top of them, whatever, So they had this big barge out there with a big crane. I mean, a humongous crane on it, and the crane would lift up these big cement columns loaded with rebar and everything, and would place it in the water. Would pound it. I'm sorry. They would pound it into the water, and then they would have a guy working all day long under the water, a scuba diver. Now he wasn't a scuba diver. He was a hard hat diver. He had the canvas suit with the.
It's like a commercial guy with the big head thing.
Yeah, with the big metal thing. It was a guy like that. He had oxygen. He had radio communication. He had a burning torch down there, and he would, at a certain level, they would mark it off where he had to cut it. He had to cut the piling. So I guess I don't know how exactly he did it, but whenever he hit rebar, he burnt it off. He burnt the rebar, and he cut a little more. He cut the concrete, and then after he thought that it was sufficiently done, he would signal up to the guys up on the barge and the crane operator, and the crane operator had attached, they had the chain attached to the big column, and he would wiggle the
to break it off.
Just to break it off. Okay. So
This already sounds bad.
Breaks it off, and it comes out of the chain.
Oh shit!
And it sinks back down into the muck, and right on top of him, it pushes him into the muck. He's okay, but he can't move.
He's talking.
He's telling them, you got to get me out of here. I can't move. The goddamn thing is resting on me.
How deep was it, Mike? How far was he down?
It was 50 feet, 50-something feet down.
Wow.
Black.
Yeah,
black.
I was going to say, it's probably can't see a goddamn thing down there.
Black. Right? It was black. And if it wasn't black, when you started walking around down there, you kicked up everything.
You made it black, right?
It was black.
What was the the title? Was it Strong Tide there?
I don't remember a tide, no.
Coobs, you were a diver, right?
But anyway,
no,
I'm the chauffeur, right? And I'm a diver. But we have 3 other divers. The 4th guy, we should have had 4 divers. We should have had 5 divers, right? But no, not this day. This day we had 3 divers and 1 guy detailed from 37 engine in Harlem. 37. They were in a 40 truck, I think.
37 and 40, yes.
Yeah. Well, he wanted to be in Rescue 5, so he was there on an onion skin to see how he would work out, So he's not a scuba diver. So now the 2 guys that are in scuba gear and the other guy who's in an exposure suit, once Calderon found out that, oh, no, this is not a man in the water. This is a man under the fucking water, like 50, 60 feet under the water. So he says, all right. So then they make a plan. All right, this guy, Dave Rochelle, is going to be the diver. Then you got his Gottschalk is going to be his backup. So on the side, alongside of the big barge, they call it a camel. It's a small wooden thing, a jiffy thing. I don't know what the hell they call it. Anyway, like if you had to go out to the barge, you would pull up to the jiffy, to this little camel. And then you would get on a camel and then up a ladder onto the barge.
Yeah, like a little dock or something.
Yeah. So the guys, Marine 9 was right nearby. Their headquarters, their pier where they docked the boat was right there. So they sent a motorboat to shore when we got there. We told them, we're here. They sent the motorboat. The guys that addressed, get in the boat, Calderon, the whole 9 yards, they're all gone. I'm back at the rig putting shit away because it was like a madhouse, pulling the tanks out and the engine company carrying the extra tanks and all this other crap. So they go to the Camel. They're on there. They're making a plan. One of the guys who had the scuba suit on tells Calderon, I got a busted valve on my suit. It was like an emergency valve. You could plug in air if something happened. You could inflate your whole suit, But we also had buoyancy and compensators, the vest that you wear with the air. But anyway, it's like a no-no. If you don't have that valve, you can't dive. So
you're up.
Calderon calls me. He calls me, and I think he said, "You're not going to believe this." He says, "But I want you to get dressed." So I'm by myself in the back at the rig. And I said, "Yeah, you want me to get dressed? Okay." So I don't know if you guys ever put on a scuba suit.
I put it on. Yeah.
I have.
It is
not a good. Yeah.
It is not easy. It is not easy. Even when you have people helping you, like the guys.
It's not easy, right? Yeah.
You help each other get dressed because it's hard to do.
This one here. This is Coobs getting dressed with one of the guys.
He looks like me. Little guy.
You dick.
Sorry, totally. I just want to bring that. I've been dying to bring that in.
Yeah, a little levity never hurts. So I'm back on the rig trying to put this friggin' thing on. Now it's December 28th. It's freaking cold, right? It's cold out. The water's freezing. Usually in weather like that, you put on a heavy-duty thermal underwear first, right? You put on thermal underwear, has one zipper. You're nice and tight, nice and warm. I don't even bother doing that because he's like urgently telling me.
Yeah, you need to be dressed as soon as you can. Right?
Dressed. Yeah, I'm sending the boat back. That's all right. So I forget about that. I got my underwear on. I got just my underwear.
Shit.
And I'm trying to put the freaking most of the suit on. I figure maybe when I get out there, they'll help me get, zipper it up and all this other shit, And then a lot of guys have their own weight belts that they use when they dive. There's certain weights that let you have the buoyancy you need to walk around and shit like that. What fucking weights? I had nothing. I just went out.
They say with the weights. Oh God!
Yeah, I got the goddamn suit on with a tank. I'm bringing the tank out, whatever. So I get out there, and Jack says, "What are you going to do?" He says, "The cops have their own scuba team there, and they're bringing them in with a helicopter. So now you know how things are.
Yeah.
We're there. We want to do the dive. We want to make the pull this guy out, right? And it's like a competition. So he says, "Here's what we're going to do. We're sending Dave down. You're the backup." He says, "Stay here until Dave is finished." I says, "All right." So Dave makes the dive. This guy, Dave Rochelle, goes down, and he can't. The way he went down, I think, to figure out on what we had to do to get the guy out. I think that was his main job, and that's what he did. He came up, and he told Calderon what the deal was, that you were going to have to reattach the chain to the column, and they were going to have to lift the goddamn column off this guy and pull him out. That was the plan. All right. So now Dave comes up. They make a plan. I'm sitting on the Camel this whole time. I'm just waiting. I got the tank. I'm all ready to go. I got my, everything's ready. So comes time for me to go down. Now, do we have a backup diver? No, we don't.
No, because you got the kid from 23.
We don't have a backup diver.
Right.
So Dave Rochelle says, I'll go down again if I have to. You know, give me another tank. So he is prepared to go down in case I can't do it or I get in trouble. And that's exactly what happened. I went down, finally made my way. I didn't know where the guy was. I finally found the guy. By the time I got there to the guy, I started to freeze up. I couldn't actually move my arms any longer. So I'm saying, I think there's something wrong with my suit. I think I'm filling up with cold water. I really didn't know, but it felt like that's what was happening, you know. So he said, oh, shit. So Calderon says, oh, shit. So they pulled me up, and I couldn't even try to help myself get up. I had to be pulled out of the goddamn water because I couldn't move. I had hypothermia. I had a hole in my suit. Sitting on the camel, a piece of wood from the camel, whatever, splint or whatever, went right through my suit and made a hole in it. So now Dave, and as per fire department rules in scuba diving, is that you don't make more than one dive. If you do one, you're done. So he goes down again. And by this time, Rescue 2 and Rescue 1 were showing up. I think Rescue 2 was there. So they had a diver. They had divers. So they were going to be the backup diver for Dave. He went down again. And this time they were able to attach the chain to the cement column, pull it up, and pull the guy out. So we actually we did the job, you know, and it was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable whole situation. You had the police department helicopters, you know, when they come down close for the guys they were jumping out of the helicopters, the scuba divers.
I've seen them do that, actually.
Yeah. Well, they were also churning up the water when they did it, you know, which is not good.
Let's say this, though, too. Like the Harbor Patrol for the PD, that's all they do, right? I say it all the time. Our guys, the FDNY guys, I have to say, man, I've seen these guys go out. For guys that don't scuba dive all the time, they're freaking great. They're really conscious. They're very safe. We really do it. It seems like to us, we have safeties. We, like you said, Lou, we got, you know, backup guys. You know, I've seen PD show up. Listen, if that's what they do, that's what they do. That's what they do. They like you said, they're diving out there by themselves sometimes. Like they're doing shit like you said, jumping out. They're not tied to anything.
Speaking of that, they actually lost a guy. I don't know when. I think it was after that. They lost a guy at a training exercise in New York Harbor, near Manhattan. They were doing a training exercise, and one of those guys died during the training exercise. But anyway,
we never send anybody in without being tethered.
It was really great that we were able to do that, you know. And we all went to the hospital with hypothermia, along with the diver. But the diver was an absolute nut. He did not want to go to they took him to the hyperbaric chamber in the Bronx. They had one in the Bronx. He didn't want to go. They took him there anyway. And he came back.
How long was he under there, Mike?
It had to be a couple of hours.
Yeah, that's so they could feed him oxygen or however.
Yeah. The guy lived under the water. I don't know how he did it every day. That's what he did for a living.
So he wasn't nervous. He was pretty calm.
He was annoyed that people were trying to help him. He was like annoyed. I want to go back to work, you know.
Yeah. Like hogs.
For us, it was a big deal, you know.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But for him, so I want to go back to work. So
that's true. It is a big deal for us. It is a big deal.
It was a big deal. Yeah.
That's a scary. That's pretty scary, man. I mean, I've talked to guys all the time that did those things in the dark, running into shit, garbage, like you said. You know, cars and shopping carts and every shit you could imagine. You know, you're running into down there. You know.
Oh yeah.
In the dark, that you could get snagged on.
There was nothing else but muck and just you couldn't see. You know, that was the biggest problem. You couldn't see what the hell you were doing. You know, that's what made it even. That's what made it harder. But it was a feather in our cap that his the rescue company 5, 3 years after they went into service, they do a spectacular rescue in New York Harbor. And do you know, it was the first and only rescue of its kind in New York City's history. In New York City's
a commercial diver like that.
To rescue a person 60 feet under New York Harbor. Nobody had ever done it before, and not since. So it was a big deal. It was a big deal.
Did that guy get a medal? You guys get medals? How did?
Yes. Dave got, I think, the Archer medal, which was pretty damn good, and he deserved that medal. He went down twice. I got the Danny DeFranco, the David DeFranco medal. And I hadn't spoken to Danny. I saw him that day. He was, I think he was in the office in Manhattan. He was the sergeant at arms at the UFA. And when he heard about the job, he left the Manhattan office and he came down to the job. So he was there when I come out of the water. And I hadn't seen him in months. I was doing my thing. He was, doing his thing with the sergeant at arms. And then I didn't hear from him again. And then on a department order, I see that they had given me the David DeFranco medal. I was like, unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. That's the Rangers.
Oh, they scored?
They just scored.
I was like, Lou, you watching something? You watching
Nice.
the game?
No, my grandson is at the game. My grandson
Nice.
Joseph, he's at the game with his dad, and I hope they win. Anyway,
I knew
so
I like this guy.
Huh?
I like him even more. I like you even more now, Mike. You know what I mean? I didn't know you were a Ranger fan.
Yeah. So that was, did I tell you about the?
How long did you stay there? So you were still a fireman at this point, right?
That was 87. Yes.
When did you end up? When did you get promoted? I don't even know what year.
So in 89, I don't know if you remember it, but there was a U.S. airplane in LaGuardia Airport.
Yeah.
Aborted his takeoff and went off the pier into the water.
Yep.
So we went there in 1989, and the windup was everybody did a great job. They saved a lot of people, and at the end, they were looking for the black box, but the current was screwing up the plane. It was like the tail section was hanging out of the
it was broken
water.
in half, right? It was like cracked.
Yeah.
The middle of the plane was in, but the front and the back were out.
The back was hanging out, and it was wobbling back and forth, the tides and all that shit. So they wanted to stabilize the tail. So they come over to Driscoll in Rescue 5, and they said, why don't you use your A-frame that we had on the back of the rescue trucks? We had a new rescue truck. And we'll put a winch on it with cables. They tied, a couple of guys were dressed up with their scuba gear. They went in the water. They passed the cable through the doors in the back. They tied up the tail section, and then we made the cable tight, taut, so it wouldn't move. And then the PD sent a couple other divers in, and they found the black box. And but we were there all freaking night. I mean, we were the last company to leave the scene of that thing the next morning.
I think there was 2 back to back because I wasn't in 117 yet, but there was one in 89 and I think one in 91.
Yeah, I don't know about the one in 91, but this was 81.
Same
89.
The plane went off the edge of the.
Yeah, that was another incident. And then in 90 I got promoted. Holy shit! Here I was.
Holy shit!
I think I had 28 years on the job, and I think in 90, I was 50. So yeah, I was 50 in 90 when I got promoted, and I go to officers' school, and I meet this guy Cleary. He was from 120 truck, and we both had the same amount of time. Or something like that. We were both the same age. he had a little more time than I did, but we were both the old timers. Everybody else was much younger than we were in officer school. And I don't know where the hell he went, but I cashed in a few things down in Division I after I got out of the school, and I went to see back then they had the command Manhattan South, Mid, and then Manhattan North. They had three people, three different divisions, three different I don't know what you want to call it, commands in Manhattan. And the guy that was in the South, Manhattan South, I used to work with this guy in 18 Engine, and now he's an assistant chief or something. And so I walked in, and I hadn't seen him in like 20 years, I walk in and he says, "Holy Christ!" He says, "What do you want? I know you want something, I said, "Yeah, I want to go to 11 truck. I just finished the officer school." So he says, 11 truck. He said, "All right." He says, I'll work on it. He said, I'll let you know, So I said, "Okay, thanks, Ralph." And his name was Ralph Palmer. And a couple of days later, I get a phone call. I don't know where I was working. And it's another deputy, a deputy in the first. And he says, "I got good news and bad news." I said, "All right, give me the bad news first." He says, "Can't give you 11 truck." Ralph said he can't do 11 truck. There's a guy, I think he said is my son-in-law, this deputy that I'm talking to, he says, "My son-in-law wants 11 truck and he's going to get it." So I said, "Good for you." I said, I would do the same thing. Give him 11 truck. He says, "Yeah, that's what we're going to do." So I know you wanted it, but we're going to give it to my son-in-law. I said, "All right." So what's the good news? He says, "How about 3 truck?" I said, "Holy shit, 3 truck was a really good company. It still is,
Yeah, they run around, they do some work.
Yeah. So I says, "Yeah." I said, I'll take 3 truck." Like, are you kidding? So that's how I got 3 truck. I went up there. That's another story. 3 truck is at a hospital power loss thing, and they're using their generators. 3 truck and 9 truck. They're there. It was like a big thing, a big deal. I can't remember the circumstances, but some hospital lost power and they were supplying auxiliary. During the operation, it lasted for a long time. It so happened that emergency service units went to their commissioner and said, "The fire department took a lot of our equipment at this thing, So they make a big investigation, and they say, "Oh yeah, they did. They took. They were pointing fingers, 3 truck, 9 truck, and all this other stuff." So they wanted a pound of flesh. All right, the PD. So they wouldn't go away. They wouldn't take no for an answer. So they wanted a pound of flesh. So the fire department said, "Okay, we're going to take the captain of 9 truck, transferring him out. We're going to transfer him out. We'll take it." They were working that day, and the lieutenant that was working, he's getting transferred. Is that okay? Is that enough? So they said, "Yeah, that's enough." They were satisfied with that. So the captain, his name was Tommy Valabona.
Forget about it.
He was the captain, so he becomes a chief. He gets promoted. He was on the chief's list. He got promoted shortly after that. And the lieutenant, I can't remember his name. Anyway, he's the guy that I took his place when he got shanghaied out of 3. And I go back to him. He's in my story on 9/11. That guy. My grandson must be beside himself. So that's how I got 3 truck. He got lifted out of 3, and he got promoted also. All right. And I went there, and I met some great people there in 3, you know, and like I said, I had a lot of time on the job, and I'm not getting the work I thought I was going to get there, you know. So I says, what am I doing? I'm coming. I'm still traveling into Manhattan, and 3 Truck was in the subway system almost every tour.
Oh,
we were
yeah.
down in the subway, the big masks. Not the little one, the big mask we had to wear back then.
Right.
And I'm getting filthy dirty in the subway system almost every day. And I'm saying, do I really want to do this? You know? So I decided, you know, I don't want to do this no more, you know. So
How long were you there?
I was there for a year. Yeah.
Right.
But I met some great people that were there. This kid, Timmy McSweeney. He had a couple of years on the job. I used to work with his father. His father was a lieutenant in 17 Engine, and I worked with him, Dennis McSweeney. And so he was my go-to guy. He worked in my groups and stuff like that. And I had a very interesting story. He says to me one day, he says, Lieutenant Barone, he says, we're lucky. We have Jeff Giordano working today. He's on a mutual. He makes chili. You told me you like chili? I says, yeah. He says, we'll get him to make chili today. I says, great. So we get all the stuff. We come back, cooks the meal down there, call for chow. Everybody goes down. They had a big round wooden table to eat. And they had the 6th Battalion in there with them, 3 Truck. So we're starting to eat the chili. And this guy, Jeff Giordano, he's right across from me, like right across the table. And he says, hey, Lou, he says, I made this for you, you know. I said, yeah, I like chili, you know. All right. So we start eating. It was so freaking hot. I cannot tell you how hot it was.
Like spicy hot, you mean? Spicy hot.
I can't describe it. I took one mouthful and holy shit.
No bueno.
No, I can't get out of this now. I got to eat.
Yeah.
No,
You got to force it down, right?
I ate a loaf of Italian bread. I had one plate of the chili with a whole loaf of Italian bread. It's the only way I could eat it. And then here's the kicker. He's over there. After every mouthful of chili that he's eating, he's putting Tabasco sauce in the dish.
Right?
Shit.
After every spoonful, he's putting Tabasco. I said, this is crazy. There were beads of sweat.
I'm sweating just thinking about it.
Yeah, coming down from his head. I just, holy shit, you know, this guy. I couldn't believe that the chili.
So
was
to him, it wasn't too hot. He needed more hot.
This guy, Jeff Giordano, he was a runner, and he used to run these charity races, and he used to raise money for the New York Burn Center all the time. He raised so much money for the Burn Center that they named the Burn Center after him, after 9/11, because he was killed on 9/11.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he was killed on 9/11, along with Timmy McSweeney, the other guy, the kid. And
wow.
Yeah. So but I'm getting ahead of myself because they were part of my story, these 2 guys, you know. And but I wanted to tell you about my experience in 3 Truck, you know.
What was your commute like going there? It had to be torture, no?
Well, you know, it was a pain in the ass. Yeah, you know, it was, you know, but they were on 13th Street between 3rd and 4th Avenue. That's where the firehouse was, you know.
Huh.
It was a pretty good spot, you know.
By Union Square over there, right? Not that far.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's right just out there, you know. I'll just north of them.
Yeah. So you decided to go back to Staten Island?
So then I says, you know, I'm out of here. And I see somebody else that I know. You know, you work in the job long enough, you meet these people, you work with them. Now they're all chiefs, you know. So I made a couple of phone calls. And actually, the captain of the company that I wanted to go to, 80 Truck, he was a captain in 14 Engine, which is right next to 3 Truck. It's right there, you know. And I used to see him all the time. And so I called him, and he says, yeah, he says, we got an opening. He says, you're more than welcome. Come down to 80 Truck. And 80 Truck was a busy truck. I did more work in 80 truck. I swear to God. I the stuff that we did in 80, it was amazing. I was so happy that I went there. You know, it was good. They had a lot of nice guys. Good company to work in. Had a lot of good work. Almost got killed there. We were in an old school. They were renovating this old school, and they had fire started on the top floor. Went into the cock loft, and it was an old school. It was a beautiful school, but they were renovating it, and it got into the cock loft, and it was a really nasty job. And we're up on the top floor. We're first through truck, got the engine there ready. Go in, we're making our way in, trying to find the seat of the fire. The whole fucking ceiling comes down on top of us. The three of us, there was three of us, me and my forcible entry team. And it almost knocked me out. It didn't, temporarily, and came to, and I'm looking for the other two guys. I can't find them. I didn't know what happened to them. So I figured I'm going to go out. Maybe they're out of the door already, because I called, I looked. I go out to the door, to the hallway, and the engine is out there. They say, no, they're not here. So I go back in, and what they did was they went into a utility closet in the hallway after the ceiling came down. And then they came out of the utility closet when they heard me yelling, because I was in there yelling for them, and they finally came out, and we finally got out. But that was a close call. That was a real close call. I mean, that was probably the worst job that I had in 80. And we had a lot of good ones. A lot of good.
You didn't think about wrapping it up after that?
I did, Lou. I did.
Towards the end, when you're in your 50s, you get a couple of those jobs. You're like, you know what? I don't know about this shit.
Yeah, like that was 93 or whatever. I don't know. So I think I'm 53 years old. So
holy
yeah,
shit.
but it's like, I'm going to stick around for a little while longer. And then, I said, you know what? John Ferry was over in 5 at that time. He got the 5. And I said, you know what? I can call John, because John used to cover in 5 when I was a chauffeur there. So I got to know him. We got to know each other pretty good, And so I called him, and I says, I'm down to coming over to 5, So anyway, I got over to 5 like that. And
what year was that?
94.
That was 94. 94, yeah. I had a couple of interesting.
Was there a lot of guys that were still there?
Yes. Yeah, there was, but they were turning over. The company was turning over, but there were still some guys there that were there when I was there.
I did the same thing. So I was a fireman in the squad, and then I left. I got promoted. I was promoted for 10 years out in the field, and then when I came back, there was a few guys that were still there. So that was like a good thing to work with them. They knew how I was, and I knew how they were. And then, but like you said, we were getting a lot of young guys, a lot of new guys. So it was
a lot of new guys were coming in. Yeah, but there was still a good portion of the company that was still there. They were all good guys, and we had a lot of fun. I had a lot of. I really enjoyed my stay. My stay there. And
was it different as a lieutenant as opposed to a fireman?
Yeah, it is different. But it all depends on when you become a lieutenant. It all depends on when you go up in rank. If you don't have a lot of time on the job and you don't have that experience, it could be a little hairy, being an officer, no matter where you are, no matter what company you're in, where you are, slow, busy, whatever. If you didn't do it before, and you don't know a lot of the stuff that was happening in the job, it could be a little uncomfortable for people. As a matter of fact, there were a couple of guys that I got promoted with that right after they went out into the field, they retired. They retired. They got right out. Yeah, they got right out because they said, "Nah, they can't. I'm not doing this," But I enjoyed it because now I'm doing it as an officer, and I had a lot of experience. I knew how the job worked back and forth, and I was able to enjoy that, enjoy that part of it. So it was good. I enjoyed the shit of it. I covered in the 4th Battalion. I worked in 18, 6th truck. 11 truck. I worked in all the companies that I was there as a fireman, so I really enjoyed that. You know, I had a good experience.
So what
Then
makes
I
you decide
went to
call it
fireman.
quits?
Huh?
What makes you decide to call it quits then?
You mean from 5?
Yeah.
I got hurt.
Oh, you did? I didn't.
I got hurt. We went to a job in Brooklyn. I don't know how many alarms it was, but anyway, it was a warehouse or something, a factory type building, and I fell and I hurt my knee. And
How much time did you have total again?
33 years.
And how old were you?
50. I was 56 when I got out.
You had a good run, bro. You know.
Yeah, I did. You know, and I was hobbling around, and I said, if this is what it's going to be, that's all it's going to be. I'll take it. You know, I'm hobbling around, but I get around. I could still play golf. I was in one piece, so I was happy about that. You know, and that's why I got out. And then I would say the next big situation in my life happened in 1993. Oh, wait a minute. What am I saying? Yeah, I got out. Well, I got out in 96.
Right.
I got out in 96. But in 1993, I had to go back. 1993. My wife, who was a tour operator for a travel agency that worked out of Manhattan, who specifically catered to people who wanted to go to the Middle East. Okay? Back in the 80s, it was okay to go to the Middle East, you know? And they were doing these big tours for people here to go there. She goes on a tour to Egypt with 725 people from the New York area. And she met all kinds of crazy people. As a matter of fact, most of the places she went to, they were people with machine guns that were all over the place, you know. And women at that time over there, I don't know about now, but probably bad now too, but it was not good if you were a woman in that country, in those countries back then. Anyway, she survives that. She comes back. And in 1993, she gets out of that business. She takes a job for a surety company. And they were in the World Trade Center. And they insure the sale of product. People in the States are buying stuff from France. This company ensured that they would get their product or whatever, and stuff like that. I never knew what the hell it meant until she explained it to me. But anyway, she's working in this company in Manhattan, family-run business. And this is when I was in 3 Truck. When I was in 3 Truck, I stopped by her place of business at the World Trade Center one day just to say hello. You know, I meet her boss and all that stuff. So I'm up there bullshitting with everybody, and I'm walking out of the. I'm leaving. I'm walking out of the office, and we had to walk by the freight elevator to get to the elevator bank that I'm taking to go down. And I just, as an aside, I says, "Ro," I says, "You ever see smoke coming out of that freight elevator?" I says, "You get the hell out of here." I says, because most of the fires. Most of the situations in high-rise buildings are from the freight elevators, you know. That's where most of them are. So anyway, 1993, February 26th, yeah. She's working on the 21st floor, and those maniacs set off the friggin' bomb in the basement of One World Trade Center. She was in the bathroom with about 7 of the other girls having a smoke when the goddamn bomb went off. She said the building shook. A lot of dust and shit, you know, and she goes back in the office. None of the bosses are there. They're all upstairs at a big meeting. So she remembered what I had told her about this freight elevator, because on the way back to the office, she saw smoke coming out of the freight elevator. She says, we're all out of here. Get out. We're all getting out. We're going to walk down the 21 flights of stairs. So she led the whole unit out, that they walked all the way down, And my brother-in-law, Pat, her brother was a detective in the NYPD. He worked in, I think, Brooklyn North Narcotics. He calls me on the phone. He says, what's going on with my sister? I says, I don't know. I didn't hear from her yet. I says, but I'm getting ready to go in. He says, well, wait for me. I'm coming over. He says, we'll go in together. I said, all right. So right after he hangs up, she called. She says, I'm out of the building. I'm okay. I'll be home. Don't worry. Don't come in. Told my brother, So I called him and we backed off from going. And she came home. She was really shook up, had black face.
I was going to say, did she had the black soot and everything like everybody?
Oh, yeah. She did. Yeah. She was, she's a tough girl, but that shook her up, that whole thing, And then that wasn't not the end of her experience with the World Trade Center. So then after that, the company didn't want to stay in the World Trade Center any longer. They wanted to go to Cliffside Park in Jersey. So they moved the company, and my wife went there. My wife, by that time, was the office manager of the company. She didn't want it. She did it for, I think, a half a year. She said it's too much to traveling all from Staten Island all the way the hell up there. It was up near the George Washington Bridge. It was a pain in the ass. So she says, nah, I'm not going to do it. So she gets a job with Hallmark Cards. A girlfriend of hers worked for Hallmark Cards. She gets a job with them. She's doing that. My wife is so smart and so good at what she does that she became a district manager for Hallmark. She had accounts for Hallmark from Virginia up to Boston, I think. I mean, it was ridiculous, the amount of territory that she was responsible for. And a lot of times, I mean, they gave her a car, and all that crap. But come on, travel down to Virginia and up. It was nuts. But she was doing it because she loved to work. She loved to do her thing, and she makes a meeting with the manager of a co-op food store that was in Battery Park City. Okay. She makes a meeting with the manager, with a couple of managers. There were a couple of stores there, and with the people from Hallmark who were servicing those stores. She has a meeting because things weren't running right. So she says, we have to have a sit down. She makes the meeting 9 a.m. in the underground plaza of World Trade Center, North Tower, on 9/11.
Come on.
She makes the meeting, okay, on 9/11 at 9 a.m. In downstairs. So a couple of days before that happens, she gets a phone call from Hallmark headquarters, which is in Kansas City. You have to come to this meeting. Whatever you're doing, drop it, and you got to be here on September 12th, they tell her. So she says, holy shit, she says, I got to be there by the 12th. She says, I don't like to go the same day, fly into a place and then go to a meeting. What time I got to leave? 5 o'clock in the morning, to get out to Kansas or whatever. So she says, I'm going to go the day before. I'll go on 9/11. I'll get there. And then the next morning I'll go to the meeting for Hallmark Cards.
Wow.
So she canceled the meeting for 9/11. I mean, that's how close she came.
Wow.
To being there.
Wow.
It was her story is like, forget about it,
Did she retire, for God's sakes?
So she did eventually. I'm looking at her. She's got a plaque here, territory manager of the year or what, I don't know, whatever. She's got a crown,
Take it to the kibbutz or whatever the heck that thing is. Go up there and hang out. That's it.
Yeah. So
You
Yeah,
did
no,
all
she
right for
did.
yourself. You
She
did all
did
right for
eventually.
yourself there, Mr. Barone.
I'm sorry.
You did all right for yourself with that one there. Good for you.
Oh, she's a dynamo. She's a dynamo.
Hmm.
And she came into my life and my family when all of my grandchildren were being born, you know. Like we got married in 91, and shortly after that we started having grandkids, you know. So she's there for them, and she's been just a fabulous person, you know,
Good for you.
to all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky that
I say good things to good people, right, Mike?
yeah, I'm so lucky that I met Rosemary from Brooklyn.
Of course.
She's from Kensington. She was actually lived in Kensington, 18th Avenue and East 3rd Street.
Ooh.
That's where she.
She's a good cook.
She could cook. Yeah, she's a great baker. She's a great baker.
Who makes better pizza?
Oh, you just stole it from me.
There's no contest. I'm a better.
Pizza.
Yeah. So.
Know where you got to send him, Roof? When it comes
I'm sorry?
in? You know where you got to send Mike when it comes in?
The pizza cutter?
The partner store pizza cutter.
Yeah,
will
we're
come
not,
over.
we're not ordering that one. No,
Oh, yeah, we are.
no,
Yes.
we're not.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. How much time do we have?
We got a few minutes.
2 minutes. What do you got?
No, I got other stories about the whole 9/11 thing.
Go ahead.
All right.
Do it.
So where are we here? We're in
2001.
So I'm trying to think back. 96, I retired, and so now 9/11 happens. I'm home with my wife, but I'm really not home. What am I saying? I'm not home with my wife. I'm in a car with 3 other firemen, retired firemen. We're going to play golf in New Jersey on 9/11. We got a tea time. I don't know where the hell it was. Anyway, we get to the outer bridge on Staten Island. It's closed down. No traffic. So what happened? So we finally start getting the news about what happened up at the World Trade Center. So we all go home. I go back to the house. She's got the TV on. My daughter Michelle worked Broadway and Wall. My daughter Diane worked in the World Financial Center, right across the street, right across West Street from the towers. We haven't heard from them. All right. So what do we do? Well, we didn't know what to do. We're waiting at the phone, looking at the TV. My stomach is churning, and I'm saying, "Oh my God, you know, you guys went through the same thing as I did. You know, you just didn't know what the hell to think. You didn't even want to go there when you were thinking about it. So anyway, the phone rings. Finally, this is a couple of hours. There had to be a couple of hours later. The phone rings. I hear a girl screaming on the phone, and then nothing. And then somebody else took the phone and said, "Hello, my name is Teresa." She says, I'm from Lee's Tavern. It's I knew where it was, a bar restaurant in Dongan Hills in Staten Island. She says, "Your daughter is here in the bar. She wants you to come and get her. Your daughter, Michelle." I says, "Okay." Hang up the phone, tear ass down Howland Boulevard, wherever the hell I went to get to the Lee's Tavern. And I walk in to Lee's Tavern, and there are at least 20 other people from downtown Manhattan that were there, all covered in the white shit.
Oh, shit.
Right? They're all covered with the stuff, and they're all talking and drinking, and my daughter's hysterical. All right, she's with another girl, a friend of hers, and I sit them down. I order a bottle of wine, and we drank the bottle of wine in about 10 minutes, I think. You know, just trying to calm her down enough to get her in the car, take her home. She was on the train. The train went into St. George where the ferry came in. She was on the train, but she said she panicked halfway home, and she bolted out of the train and down the street. And the bar is right there as soon as you get off the train. So that's where she went, and she called and whatever. So I finally get her home. And right after I get her home, my other daughter, Diane, who was in the World Financial Center, she calls and she says, Dad, I'm in New Jersey. She says, what happened to me was she was a little hysterical too, but not as much as the other one. So what happened to her in her building is either a part of the building with the World Trade Center or part of the plane broke off and came across West Street and hit the World Financial Center, not far from where my daughter worked. All right. So they finally evacuating the World Financial Center. She goes out to West Street. She looks up. She sees all this shit that's happening. She starts running north on West Street. She said that, I don't know if they ran or whatever, they ran and walked up West Street all the way to 23rd Street. That's a long way to go, right? She goes all the way up there, and they were directing her to go towards the water, and they had boats in the, there was like a marina type thing there on 23rd Street. And she got on a boat, a small boat, like a tugboat or whatever, and they took her to Jersey City. And then Jersey City had set up a triage center, and they were hundreds of boats, small boats, no matter any size boat you could think of. They were in New York Harbor, evacuating people from Manhattan over to Jersey. And she was on one of those boats. Thank God those guys did what they did. They got so many people off out of Manhattan.
There's a lot of that going around.
Yeah, they did some job. And so she said, I'll make my way home. I'm okay, whatever. So that's what she did. So I knew they were okay. My other daughter, Teresa, she worked in New Jersey. She worked for a school in New Jersey or something. And I heard from her, she was okay. And so I looked at my wife. I says, I can't stay here. I can't stay home. I got to do something. So I said, I'm going to go down to Rescue 5. Now, I had been retired. I'm retired like 5 years. I got out in 96. This is 2001. So I go down to 5, and there's hundreds of guys down there. They weren't from Rescue 5. They were from all over the Staten Island. And Calderon was there also. He was a chief in the 2-2 on Staten Island. So what were they were doing? They were organizing a group of people to go down to the Staten Island ferry. The plan was that they were going to have the Staten Island ferry boats transport all of the injured people to Staten Island. And then I guess they would take them to other places too, but they were going to come to Staten Island. All the hospitals were alerted, all over New York City to be prepared for a mass casualty thing, right? So we go down to the Staten Island ferry, and we're all getting ready to do our thing. I don't know what the hell we're going to do, help these people, transport them, whatever. After we're there about an hour or two, they call it off. There were no injured people. There were no people that were.
There was nobody.
You were either dead or you survived from the World Trade Center. There were
only
not
a few people. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a few. Yes, there were a few, but not like nothing like they thought. They thought there were going to be mass casualties. So I finally we finally make our way back to Rescue 5. We're helping out. I don't know what the hell we were doing, and there was 4 other guys with me. My cousin was there, and we said, what are we going to do? What are we going to stay here, or are we going to go in? My cousin Rafi Moscato, he had a Bronco. He says, I got the Bronco. I could put everybody's gear in the back of the Bronco. We get in there and we see if we can get into the scene. This is about 6:30 that night. So we get up on Staten Island Expressway, and there's a roadblock that the PD has Staten Island Expressway closed. So they see us and they say, what do you guys got? What are you doing? We're going into the Trade Center. Oh, yeah? Okay. Go ahead. They let us go. We go down to the Verrazano Bridge, Same thing. Where you going? We're going into the World Trade Center. They let us go. We get to the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. Same thing. Go ahead. So we go in. We're the only car in the tunnel, right? We're barreling through the tunnel. We get to about the midway point. All of a sudden, nothing but black frigging cloud. You could not see a foot in front of you. He says, holy shit. So he stops. He stops the car. He says, holy shit, I don't know what's ahead of me. I what am I going to do? And everybody was saying, yeah, maybe you should put it in reverse and, go back out of the tunnel or whatever, So we stayed there for a minute, maybe 2 minutes. And then we said, you know what? Go slow. Just keep going, but go slow. So that's what he did. He kept on going slow, slow, slow. We finally made it out of the tunnel. We found out later that all the dust and shit that from the World Trade Center just traveled gravity down into the tunnel and into the midpoint of the tunnel. That's what happened. So we parked the car. We had gear from Rescue 5. We got our gear on. We start walking up the street. I see the wheel from one of the planes laying on.
I remember that.
Greenwich Street and Greenwich and Cedar, and then we start moseying into the crowd. We're listening, we're hearing things, different reports about different people and who might have got out. Who we're looking for people from Rescue 5. We don't know where they are. Found out that Rescue 5 has a TAC unit, TAC 2, assigned to them, and the TAC unit was there also. The guy that drove the TAC was Billy Spade.
Billy Bats.
So we're looking for the TAC unit and Rescue 5's truck, right? We're not finding anything. Keep on, and we're searching for people. We're looking, and everybody was doing the same thing we were doing. They had little groups of men. So, and now it's dark, So we finally find a TAC 2. And it was so freaking mangled that it finally hit me. I'm like, I was looking and saying, you got your hopes up that you might be able to find somebody. And then when I saw that rig, how twisted it was and how mangled, I said, there is nobody going to survive this freaking thing. I just took one look at that fucking thing. And I said, that's it. And it was so depressing, so depressing. And then I meet this guy, like I told you, the guy that I took his place in Ladder 3. Now he's a chief, right? Now he's a chief. And he's there, and he sees me, and he comes over, and he says, you want to do something? I says, yeah, what? What do you got? He says, here's a body bag. He says, they got a person here. They're going to get him out. They're trying to extricate him. When they get him out, put him in a body bag, bring him over to EMS. He told me where they were, behind the World Financial Center. He says, and I'll be happy if you do that. So I said, all right, So I told the guys, this is what we're going to do. We waited. They couldn't get the guy out. They could not get the person out of the wherever the hell he was. So we gave him back the body bag. I said that person's not coming out, So we stayed there. We were there all night. I think I went home the next morning, about 6:30. I got home, 6:30, 7 o'clock. And I realized I got all this crap on me, all the white powder, all the stuff that was burning and all that shit. So, man, so I said, let me go downstairs. I went downstairs right away. I figured I'd take everything off down there, maybe either throw it away or wash it. I go downstairs, my wife comes right down after me. She was up the whole night. And she comes over to me. She puts her arms around me and she kisses me right on the lips, right? And she backs away like as quick as she kissed me. That's how fast she backed away. I said, what's the matter? She says, my lips are burning. She ran over to the slop sink and got water to wipe off her lips. Her lips were burning from the shit that I had on my face. I mean, it was really disgusting. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. Hey,
That's crazy.
Okay. That's that night. The next 3 days, I went to Rescue 5. I tried to help out in the office. I tried to help out running the company, whatever they were doing, because they were still responding up there. They were going back up to the site every day with the guys, but they still needed stuff. So we were trying to fill in. Do you know Nat DePrisco? You guys know Nat DePrisco?
No.
He was one of the original firemen in Squad 1. When they made Squad 1 over where it is, they took 269 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
He was part of that when I think Downey was the captain, right? Downey was the captain of Squad 1. Anyway, he was a fireman there, and now he's a lieutenant, and he had retired from 5 also. So I meet him there, and we're in the office of Rescue 5, and we're getting phone calls from SOC that they want John Ferry out. He's out. Tell him he's out of there. They don't want him in Rescue 5 anymore. So we're saying, what are you kidding or what? He knows almost here. He knows their families, their wives. He'd be the perfect guy to have here to take care of a lot of situations that are going to recur, So we were like arguing with them, and they were like arguing back at us. No, we want him out of there. I don't know who it was that wanted him out, but we were arguing with them. This guy was like a little fire plug, Nat DePrisco. He says to the person he's talking to in SOC, he says, you don't keep him here. I'm going to come over there with a fucking baseball bat and break some heads. You got that? He says, you got that? And he hangs up the fucking phone.
What old school on him?
I says, Nat, are you kidding? He says, no. He says, fuck them. He says, whatever. So then we started thinking. We said, who do we know? So we knew the chief of department, who was Cassano at the time, but then was like running things, right? I don't know if you remember that, but after 9/11, Cassano started running things, and we call him. We both knew him, right? So we call him, and we told Cassano the whole story about them trying to get rid of Ferry, and he took care of it, and they kept Ferry there. They kept Ferry there for a while, and then he finally left, but that right then they kept him there. So I did that, like I said, and then like during the day while I was there, those 3 days that I was there, like I was there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. People were coming to the firehouse they wanted to touch a fireman, they wanted to hug him, they wanted to say something, they wanted to, offer their condolences and shit like that, And I'm standing there, and I had this older grandma come in with cookies. She baked chocolate chip cookies, and she said, "I want you to give these to the men from Rescue 5 or whatever." I said, "Oh my God!" Another guy come in, he grabs me, starts crying. I said, "I can't do this. I cannot handle these people coming in like this." So I said, "I'm going to go back. I got to go back to the site." So that's Saturday. The Rescue 5 at the time was leaving at, I think, 6 or 6:30 in the morning to get there for 7, to get to the site for 7 o'clock. So by that time, though, this is like 4 days later, they put a kibosh on retired guys working at the site. They didn't want no more retired guys there.
Right.
So Lou Ramundi, who was also a fireman in Rescue 5 that I worked with, he was the officer in Rescue 5 that day, and he says, "Get on the fucking rig. We're going in. We're gonna take you. We're gonna take you." And then I had a guy, John Craig, Gus Tripoli, and this other guy was the brother. Joe Muscali was a member of Rescue 5. His brother John was with us. We dressed him up in firefighter gear, put him on the truck, into the site. He gets us in. He drops us off about a block away from where he had a report. We're not there 5 minutes. I think it's Esposito from SOC. I think it was Esposito. I don't know what rank he was then. He says he knew Tripoli. I didn't really know him. He knew Tripoli, and he says, Gus, he says, you guys looking to do something? I says, yeah, what are you kidding? He says, we got a guy, we got 2 firemen we found last night. He said, we're going to take him out today. I says, how fast can I get there? This is what we want to do. So he says, they're up at the top of the pile. And he pointed up. It looked like it was 8 stories high, this fucking pile. So to get there, the FEMA teams. You're familiar with the FEMA teams that the United States has throughout the country.
You saw it, Tim.
There's a lot of them, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They were all there.
Uh-huh.
All right, they were all there. What they did was they stretched 35-foot portable ladders. They stretched them out this way, that way, over a thing, up there, halyards on the ladders. At least there was a way to get up to the top of the pile instead of walking on the rubble. If you walk on the rubble, there was no way you were getting up there. Anyway, it took us a long time, but we finally got up. We get to the site. One guy here, another guy over there, not too far away. Almost like they were in the same stairwell or whatever. So we start working on getting this one guy out. And we were there for, I don't know, maybe an hour trying to, and the FEMA teams had all of the tools, any tool that you could think of at the time, they had it up there. They had them all over the place, and they were ours to use. And that's what we were doing. We're using the tool, cutting here, hacking there, digging, whatever. Somebody reaches in and finds out that the guy's from Rescue 1. He's a lieutenant, all right? Dennis Mojica was his name. He's a lieutenant from Rescue 1. Mm-hmm. So they call Rescue 1 on a handy-talkie. A couple of guys, they finally come up. Then the whole company came up. So we backed out from what we were doing. They took over. And they made the final extrication. Yeah. Mm. The other guy was from Squad 41. No matter what we did, Lou, Cubes, Gonzo, could not get that other guy out. Really? Could not get him out. All we saw was his boots. Two boots sticking out of the pile of shit that he was buried in. And you couldn't see anything else of him, You couldn't get him out. They finally got the guy from 1 out. Put him in the Stoke stretcher. He was a big guy, Dennis Mojica. He was over 6 feet tall. He was a big guy. And we finally got him packaged up, and we get him out onto the rubble. And now, by this time, there's a couple of hundred guys there. Mm-hmm. They had made their way up. So before we could move him, a deputy chief came up. He might have been there all along. I don't know. But he says, fellas, I want you to all do me a favor. You don't have to, he says, but can you remove your helmets? He says, I want to say a prayer. So everybody stops what they're doing, and we take off our helmets. And he reads a prayer. You want me to read it? It's a short prayer.
Go ahead, man.
Written by Michael Judge. Now, Michael Judge was a Catholic chaplain who was killed on 9/11. Mm-hmm. He had written this prayer. He says, Lord, take me where you want me to go. Let me meet who you want me to meet. Tell me what you want me to say and keep me out of your way. Written by Father Michael Judge. And as soon as he finished reading the prayer, the tears started coming out of my head. Holy shit, what's happening to me, I started crying like, I can't tell you. It was an experience I never had before. And I looked around, and there were so many people crying, so many guys just bawling, Mm. And then we sucked it up, and we put our helmets back on. And we had to get this guy down, this big pile. And like I said, up there were crevices, there were holes, there were, the ladders. Some of the ladders were on the rubble, but there are other parts of it they weren't, So we were trying to push it. Guys were standing on either side of the ladders, and we were pushing the Stokes on the rails. And I said, "This is not going to work." I says, "When we get to that area where where nobody could stand," so I got on top of the rails. I got on top of the freaking ladders, and I'm pulling the Stokes, and they're holding onto the sides, and they're pushing and pulling, pushing. I lost my balance on the fucking ladder, and I reached out with my hand, to stop from falling. There was nothing there. The halata, a guy reaches up and he grabs my arm, and he says, "No." He pushes me back up on the ladder. It was this guy, Charlie Maloney, the guy that you spoke to, Lou.
Oh, yeah.
Maloney's the guy that introduced me to you guys.
Yeah.
It was him. He's an 18 trucker. And he pushed me back up on the ladder. And then I went a little bit longer on top of the ladder, and then I got off. And we finally got over to an area where we could take the stretcher off the ladders. And then the FEMA teams had rigged up a goddamn pulley from there all the way down to West Street. And we hooked up the Stokes stretcher.
I remember that.
We hooked up the Stokes stretcher to that fucking pulley, and that's how we got him down. It was
went across that big ravine,
and you were praying that nothing would happen to the Stokes on the way down. And you know why I'm telling you this? Because it was a big deal to give his family back, back to the family, because the guys, so many guys, especially the guys in Rescue 5, there was nothing to give back. Nothing. There was nothing.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
To give the families back to. The families, they would ask, "How long do we wait? Can I wait a little longer? Should I wait another?" They were in no man's land. These people, they had nothing. They didn't know what to do. Have a service, wait for the body.
No, we did services, and we talk about that all the time.
Yeah. So
I don't want to cut you off too much, but I don't want to get too far in this because we're at the end of the time.
We are.
And we were in a good mood, maybe like a half hour ago, but now we're kind of like.
Now it's kind of yeah.
I know. Listen. We all know. I mean, everybody who was down there, we all know how it was, and it's unfortunate. And everybody has their experiences, And we're glad that you told us some of your stuff, but I don't want to, get too far down the road in that thing either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have one more thing, though, to add to that.
Go ahead.
Last thing. You have a little time?
You got 5 minutes.
Okay. So we make our way down to the West Street where they took the lieutenant, right? And the guy comes out with a bullhorn and he says, "Everybody shut up, stop. Everybody stop what they're doing. No noise." So everybody stops. What's going on? They heard somebody tapping on a pipe. Says, "Holy shit. Could it be that somebody's still alive underneath the rubble?" And, so we waited for a while, and everybody's heart is up in their throat, and finally the guy says, he gives an all clear. He said, no, he says it was a small backhoe that was working on the other side of the pile. And every time they went over to a certain area, they were making the noise. There wasn't anybody that was doing it, So that was we kept on walking, and we had been there all day. So we said, "Let's get some something to eat and maybe a bottle of water or something like that." And a doctor comes over to me, and he grabs me and he says, "How do you feel?" And I says, "All right." Like I wasn't expecting it, so I says, "All right." He says, "Nah." He says, "You look like shit." He says, "You got to come with me." And the other guys I was with, they're walking ahead. They don't even know what I'm doing, So he takes me into a tent, one of those a medical tent or whatever, And they had a girl there, like a physical therapist, and she starts like massaging my back, like I was leaning over a chair. I said, "What am I doing here?" I was so uncomfortable, I said, "Nah, I can't do this." I bolted out of the tent, and I ran over to where the guys were. And I never told them. I was embarrassed. I even went in the friggin' tent, But I did look like shit, But But anyway, so then we had something to eat or whatever, a glass of water, and we left. We left and we went home, and you know, I tried to pick up where I left off, and I couldn't. You know, I thought that I had. I said to my wife, I says, if I never do another thing in my life, I'll be happy that I did this today, that I helped get that guy's body back to his family. That would be enough for me. I'll be satisfied that I did something in life that was meaningful. You know, that's the way I felt about it. I was so grateful that I had the opportunity to do it. And I'm very lucky that I did. You know, there's so many people on the job, they probably would want to do something like that, and they just never had the opportunity. But I did, and I'm very grateful that I did. I'm more than grateful, you know.
You should be happy, Mike. That's a big accomplishment. Honestly.
Yeah. And I could go on for another hour. I have a whole story about the tribute center on Staten Island, and you know, that I got involved in because I wasn't satisfied that we were doing enough, you know. So I got involved in that, and we opened up a big 9/11 tribute center on Staten Island. There were almost 300 people killed that lived on Staten Island. A third of them were firemen, you know. So that it's still running. It's there in Staten Island, in the Staten Island Botanical Gardens, and you know, and then I went up to and I met Lee Iopi up in Manhattan. He started an organization that took people around the site and all that stuff. And I did that for a while, for years, you know.
There he is.
I was happy to do that.
Well, we appreciate it, Mike. Appreciate everything you did. You know, through the decades, you know, your service and job, and everything you did after 9/11. And
some career.
And
a lot of times it was just because I was there. You know, it wasn't.
It's more than that, Mike. It's more than that.
Yeah. You know, there were a lot of other guys would have done similar stuff. You know,
well, you're a very humble man.
They had the opportunity. The best part of that the job is the guys. You know, it's the people that you meet. That you meet, they're the best part of the job.
No doubt. And we're glad we met you, Mike. Even though we didn't get a chance to work with you.
Well, I'm so glad you guys gave me an opportunity to tell my story. You know, to speak. You know, this is a great opportunity for people to speak about it. You know,
Mike, you're the only guy, bro, that got 3 parts. The only guy, even Chief Dunn didn't get 3 parts.
Well, I'm very honored. I'm very honored, and like I said, very, very grateful to all of you for being there and for providing this venue so people could do it. You know,
we're grateful that you came on.
It's very important. I was always worried that stuff like I experienced would just go by the wayside and nobody would ever know anything about this or that. You know.
Yeah, and the stories are gone.
I always tell my wife, I says, you know, nobody's going to know what the hell I experienced, you know. But bam, getting salty. He's telling me, you got to go
even on the putting green, right? What were you on the putting green? And some guy said, "Hey, I saw you on the getting salty."
Yeah, exactly. That was so.
Now you made it. Now you have.
Now
you finally accomplished something in your life.
Time.
And I didn't go over those little notes that I had that I was going to try to tell you about, but that's okay. I got most of it out, and I'm happy about that.
Excellent, Gonzo. What do you got to get out? Anything? What do you got?
We have our outro and your shout outs when you guys are ready.
All right.
Or if you want to do an old school tip of the day too.
I'll do my quick shout outs. Friends of Firefighters again. Gonzo, put them up there. They do a lot of great work, but the awareness also brings the need for funds. So if you feel like being generous, they do great work with mental health. So if you can go over there and give them a couple of shekels, doesn't have to be a lot. Any little bit helps.
But okay, so I have a tip.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's I don't know if you want to call it a tip, but for the new guys in the job, is that who the tip is for?
Yep. Or anybody. Yeah, anybody you want to pass along a tip to.
Be the best roof guy that your company has. Be the best irons man. Be the best can man. Give your best every friggin' run. No matter what it is, give your best. That's my tip for people that are in the job.
I tell my kids the same thing when they leave for school. Just try your hardest and be your best. Be the best
Be
one you can
your
be.
best. Give your best because, you know, that's who we are. We should give our best. Yeah.
You know what, Mr. Barone? You're one of the best. I got to say that.
Thank you.
He's all right.
I want to give a shout out. I saw him leave the room already. Hank, senior dude, Molay, just got the knee replaced. I saw that he's up and back in the gym, so he already left. So you know what? F him. He's not going to see it. All right. What do you got, Johns?
No, I have our outro when you guys are ready. Lou, you want to do a shout out before that, or you want me to run it?
No, do it.
Do it. All right. Stand by, everybody.
Well, thank you first and foremost for tuning in to another episode of the Gettin' Salty Experience. Think we're out of good content? Ha! Far from it. If you want to find us on the audio side, you can do so on all the players. We're available on, yes, I said that correctly, all the players. Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. That's where we are. And if you're here tonight, congratulations. You found us on the Gettin' Salty Experience, which if you're not already subscribed, please do so. It's free, costs you nothing. You can also like and share, which also costs you nothing and helps us grow the audience of the show. You can also find us on social media if you so please. Of course, we're on Instagram where Lou posts great FDNY content from yesteryear. We're also on TikTok. Tangamus Prime is on top of that. And we're also on LinkedIn too, where yours truly, Mike McBob Cologne, is on top of things on that front. Head on over to GettinSaltyApparel.com, by the way, for all kinds of great merchandise, apparel, and accessories. There is a super chat, too. We thank each and every one of you for your support. You can open up your wallet and donate a amount of your choosing during the program. After all, you guys, yes, you guys are our number one sponsors. Super thanks as well. If you missed the show live, you can show support through that means. If you still wish to open up your wallet, the super thanks is basically a thank you after the fact for another great episode of ours. The Facebook fan page is in existence too, now over 60,000 strong and continuing to grow. It's not created by us at the Gettin' Salty Experience, but it is nevertheless a great way to connect with firefighters from all over and fans of the show alike. If you want to advertise with the Gettin' Salty Experience, send your information on over to gettinsaltyads@gmail.com. And if you have any questions or have a guest suggestion, please send them to gettinsaltyexperience@gmail.com with the necessary contact information. And finally, if you have content for anything else, please send them to koobspodcast@gmail.com. Of course, that's Kevin Kubler's secondary email. And that's where you could send things like rig photos, firehouse kitchen tables, fire videos, helmet cam videos, tattoos, mustache photos, and yes, photos for the unofficial Hot Old Ladies contest that we may or may not be holding, allegedly. Thanks once again for tuning in to the Gettin' Salty Experience.
Beautiful. And the last thing, don't forget Lancaster, Harrisburg. We will be there in May. I just threw the thing away. Oh, my goodness gracious. Hold on a minute. We are in booth 436 in the Expo Hall. That, again, is at the Lancaster Expo in Harrisburg.
What is that, 17, 18, 19?
May, I believe it's that weekend. May,
something like
yes. Yep. 18, 19, 20.
18, 19, 20.
Yes, come out. And again, Mr. Barone, thank you for sharing your life, your stories, everything with us. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
All right. And Ruffy, who we got on Monday? Rescue One?
Rescue One Lieutenant.
Rescue
George
One
Krusher.
Yeah, George.
There we go.
Krusher or something.
Yeah. All right. Gonzo, you stay out of trouble.
I'm doing
All right.
it.
Don't forget, new decals will be posted tomorrow on the website. And the new shirt is coming out soon. Drive fast, take chances. The faster you go, the skinnier the rig gets. That's it. All I got. See you. Until then, stay low and go.
All right, everybody. We'll see you at the big one. Thanks again, Mike.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, guys. Stay safe.
All my best.
All right. Good night.